Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Yoon goes out with Jo to a company dinner. During the dinner, Jo surprises Yoon by presenting her with a large bouquet of flowers and proposing to her in front of everyone. However, Yoon is visibly uncomfortable, ignores Jo's proposal, and leaves the event. A few days later, Shuya falls ill and stays at home. When Yoon finds out, she goes to his place and stays by his side, taking care of him and applying cold compresses until he starts to feel better. The next day, Shuya wakes up and sees Yoon cooking for him. He watches her, filled with happiness that she's there with him, but his happiness is short-lived as he receives a call from the company informing him of a major problem that requires his immediate attention. Shuya quickly takes Yoon with him, and they rush to the office. They attend a meeting with the investors where the lead investor, Lionel, accuses Yoon of leaking company secrets related to the project she was overseeing. Yoon is shocked and confused, not understanding what's happening. The investor shows a video of a new game launched by a rival company, which is the same game Yoon was responsible for developing. He accuses her of leaking the project details. Yoon denies the allegations but takes responsibility since she was in charge of the project. Shuya speaks up and tries to find a solution to the problem. He is forced to suspend Yoon from her job to appease the investors until her innocence can be proven. Yoon is devastated, thinking that even Shuya doesn't believe her. She collects her belongings and leaves the office, heartbroken. Shuya catches up with her at Shin's shop and offers her a ride home. During the drive, he reassures her that he trusts her completely and knows she didn't leak the project details. He explains that he only suspended her to prevent the real culprit from getting suspicious and making another mistake which would allow him to catch the person and prove her innocence. After dropping her off at home, Shuya begins investigating the situation with Yoon, and they both suspect an employee named Dong of leaking the game information to the rival company. They start monitoring Dong closely. One night, Shuya invites Yoon out to dinner. As they enjoy the evening, Yoon notices how much kinder and more considerate Shuya has become towards her. She teases him, saying he's changed and become much nicer. Shuya subtly hints that he has feelings for her. Eventually, Shuya gathers enough evidence to prove that Dong was the one who leaked the information. He confronts Dong in front of Yoon, Joey, and Amy, forcing Dong to confess and apologize for his actions. Yoon's innocence is proven, and she is reinstated in her job, much to her delight. Shuya holds a meeting where he makes all the investors apologize to Yoon, which makes her even happier. After returning home, Yoon spends time cooking for Shuya with her mother. The next day, she brings the food to the office to give it to Shuya, but she becomes upset when she overhears the lead investor telling Shuya to fire her because he believes she's not competent enough. Shuya refuses, telling the investor to mind his own business. This angers the investor, who then convinces the other investors to stop funding Shuya's games and delay the funds he needs, leaving him unable to pay his employees. Shuya becomes frustrated and holds a meeting with the investors, trying to convince them to fund his projects, but they refuse. After the meeting, the lead investor approaches Shuya and tells him that as long as he doesn't follow his instructions, not a single cent will go into the investment fund and he will continue to struggle. The investor leaves and Yoon is left feeling guilty, thinking she is the reason for the current problems and that the employees are not getting paid. She decides to act like an incompetent employee so that Shuya has a reason to fire her, making it easier for him. She starts slacking off, even falling asleep during work and in meetings. The managers and investors become frustrated and demand that Shuya fire her, which he reluctantly agrees to do. Yoon's colleagues are saddened by her departure. She reassures them that she's not upset because her sacrifice is for Shuya's benefit. Shuya overhears this and realizes she did it all for him. The next day, the salary issue is resolved and the employees receive notifications that their salaries have been deposited into their accounts. Once this is done, Shuya meets with the investors and ends their partnership, leaving the meeting to address the employees. He tells them that all current game projects will be put on hold so they can be improved. He gives them the option to stay with the company or resign, then leaves them to make their decision and returns to his office. Yoon, meanwhile, finds a job at a daycare. Shuya, still caring for her, watches her from a distance without her knowing. Back at the company, many employees have resigned due to the game projects being halted, and the situation is deteriorating. Later, Shuya gathers his friends at his house to celebrate his birthday. During the celebration, Yoon suggests going to the amusement park and riding a particular attraction known for keeping couples together forever. They all go to the amusement park, and Ya stands next to Shuya, hoping to ride the attraction with him because she loves him. Yoon notices this and feels jealous, but Shuya grabs Yoon's hand and takes her on the ride instead, shocking Ya and Jo. After the ride, Shuya, feeling embarrassed, leaves quickly. Ya talks to Yoon and explains that the company was shut down, which is why Shuya is upset. Worried about Shuya, Yoon runs after him, catches up and talks to him, encouraging him to start over and bring the company back to life. She promises to stay by his side and help him along the way. The next day, Yoon goes back to the company, and as soon as the employees see her, they welcome her warmly and are thrilled to have her back. The entire team gets motivated and starts working with renewed energy. Days go by and everyone is working at full capacity. Yoon is focused and making great progress on the game she was responsible for. Shuya is incredibly happy and keeps an eye on her while she works, and the employees notice this, realizing that he has feelings for her. Shuya needs some money, so he sells his apartment and starts sleeping in his office. When Yoon finds out, she visits him and watches him sleep, thinking about how she can help. She comes up with an idea and takes him to an apartment belonging to a relative of hers, which is close to her house. She tells him he can stay there until things get better for him. Shuya thanks her, and after she leaves, he looks around the place. Seeing how she had set up everything for him in the apartment, he falls even more in love with her. That night, Shuya steps out onto the balcony for some fresh air, and Yoon, who is on her own balcony, sees him and is happy. They chat for a while and Shuya lightens the mood. However, Yoon hears her mother calling and quickly goes back inside. The next day at the company, Shuya discusses with the employees and sets deadlines for the projects Yoon is working on. Shuya and Yoon begin working together at her place after work, growing closer in the process. One night, Shuya confesses his love for her, telling her that he has loved her for a long time. He asks if they can start dating, but Yoon is surprised and suggests they postpone talking about their relationship until they finish developing the game they're working on. Shuya is disappointed and a bit puzzled but accepts her decision. Meanwhile, Jo starts developing feelings for Yoon, and he approaches her to tell her that he likes her and asks if they can date. However, Yoon turns him down and walks away. That day is the company's anniversary, and when Shuya arrives at the office at night, he is surprised by a celebration organized by the employees. Shuya is deeply touched and thanks them before they all celebrate together. The next day, Amy talks to Yoon and tells her that Shuya didn't actually sell his apartment, he was just staying at the company for work reasons. Yoon is surprised to learn that Shuya lied to her so he could stay close to her in her relative's apartment. She says, "Okay, I see," and takes his belongings along with her colleagues to bring them back to his house. The following day, Shuya asks Yoon if he can return to his apartment. Yoon tells him, unfortunately, that's not possible because her relative is doing renovations and it's not suitable for living at the moment. She doesn't mention that she knows about the lie. Shuya agrees and leaves. When he gets back to his apartment, he finds stuffed animals all over the place and realizes that Yoon was the one who set it up. He laughs, and then Yoon appears behind him, asking if it's okay to lie to her. Shuya moves closer to her, explaining that he lied because he wanted to be near her and see her every day. He took the opportunity to stay in her relative's apartment so he could be close to her. The mood lightens up and they share a romantic moment together. The next day, Yoon goes to the airport to meet a girl arriving from abroad who will be in charge of the development team at Shuya's company. This is based on an agreement Shuya made when he was in Japan. The girl, Z, is interested in Shuya and asks Yoon if he is in a relationship. Yoon is taken aback by the question and replies that she doesn't know. Z arrives at the company and meets Shuya, and they have a conversation. It turns out that Z was Shuya's first love, and they broke up a long time ago, but she still has feelings for him. The next day, Z brings food for the employees as a reward for their hard work. She sees Shuya sitting next to Yoon and takes a seat next to him, trying to get closer. Shuya, however, takes Yoon's hand to show Z that he loves Yoon, making it clear that he won't get back together with Z. Z is shocked and leaves. Yoon gets upset with Shuya for not telling her that he was once in a relationship with Z. Shuya apologizes and takes her out to dinner to make up for it. The next day at the company,